Hello, and welcome to another episode of playing Crusader Kings 3 on the hardest possible rule set, starting as a custom character in China in 1066. So far, we've had a very successful career and we've risen to the position of Grand Chancellor, which is the second most powerful position in the entire China hegemony, just behind the Emperor. But the problem we're facing is how do we take that next step and become the Chinese emperor, the Huangdi, ourselves? There are really two paths. One is to be Huangdi's regent and be able to swing the scales of power up to level 6. Then you can try to do some schemes, usurp his title, take over the empire peacefully. Second is to drive the dynastic cycle into tension and then division. China will collapse. Ideally, we'll want either ourselves or our heir to own some territory, and from that territorial base, they can attack the other successor states of China and get 50% of China's territory, and then take the decision to become the son of heaven and reunite China. The problem with the first one is that swinging the scales of power does not actually move the scales very much, and at the same time the emperor is swinging them back. And so I think as a practical matter, we're just not going to be able to swing the scales of power enough. Even if we imprison the emperor, which would or the Huangdi, which would prevent him from swinging the scales still decay normally back to a baseline, as you can see here at the bottom. They swing back to a balance of 40 out of 100. We really need them to be up near 100 of 100. And so I'm going to go with the second, longer option, which is going to do what we can to drive the dynastic cycle toward tension and then division. So what we want to look here is what are the catalysts that we can use to drive toward tension. Some of these are really out of our control. We'll want to continue pushing toward tension whenever we get the chance. So there's one thing we can do. If we could imprison him and make it so that he was unable to hold civil service examinations, that would also push toward tension. Again, we've talked about the problem with imprisoning him is we are playing on very hard difficulty, which gives significant penalties to any hostile schemes by the player. So we're really going to need to go very deep into two intrigue trees, both skullduggery and then the torture intimidation tree, to be able to imprison him. There are other minor things we could do. We could try raiding. The other that I do think is in our hands and that we can take steps to ourselves is to go more toward the expansion or the conservative movement. And the reason for that is currently we are part of the pro-song movement, so in favor of our liege's reign, and so we're really propping up his power and helping him with a dynastic cycle. We no longer want to do that. I mean, I think it was useful early on, but at this point, better to go to a different movement where we can work more easily to push toward tension and eventually division. The one issue at the moment is that we are currently the head of the pro-song movement. One thing we're using that for is to build this building here, which requires you to be the head of a movement. It does have some significant benefits in terms of medium health boost for the elderly, allowing us to live long at the height of our power. Also some domicile influence. So I really want to max out this building first. Once I do that, I'm going to switch to a different movement. And that, I'll check here if there's anything that I can do. I don't know that undermined governance alone affects the dynastic cycle. Let's take a look, though. We can look at the history of dynastic cycle here. Wonder what that counts. That's probably me stealing gold from other vassals. So you can see here, the more the power sways toward the expansion movement or the conservative movement, the more tension is going to be generated. Slandering governors also works. So challenging status works. So there are some options we have here. Raiding a state is another possibility, though obviously for this it would be quite difficult. Let's see if we can challenge status here. Looks like we will be able to do that. So we'll really want to focus on activities that, to the extent possible, drive the empire toward tension. At the end of last episode, we appointed a Chinese version of a royal architect. This is a master craftsman, which is allowing us to build state buildings much more quickly. Pick this one for the intrigue experience. Okay. Object of our challenge scheme. Challenge status scheme died, so we will go to someone else. Take a look here at what other sub-buildings we can build. This one gives a good bit more domicile income, so we'll probably max it out. Again, we want more intrigue experience. Same. Save our children for improving our genetics. Just completed a great project that gives us some significant benefits in terms of lifestyle experience. Serve the crown here really for the dread. We don't really need much in the way of military. It's not really who our character is. Okay, so we have this son. He is intelligent, he's betrothed to an intelligent woman, so girl. So all their children should be geniuses. He's a golden sovereign. He has 3 virtues, very high stewardship, quite high learning. We definitely want him to be our current heir. And we expect him to be able to take exams on his own. He'll be able to improve his merit rank. We'll see where he stands after the next capital exam. If he doesn't pass it, then we'll take the decision to allow him to bypass that and then start feeding him quite a bit of merit, which we can do by spending influence to get him as powerful as quickly as we can. We'll keep swinging the scales of power, even though don't know that it's going to matter too much at this point. I assume that's a capital exam. But first, let's see, is it expansion or conservative? I guess the only question really is which one you want to join. I guess we'll go with the conservative movement. We'll proceed from here. We will go to the capital examination with the intent of supporting entrance, specifically our children. Continue to build up our estate, which is the real basis of our power. Wait until we get up to 1,000 treasury again. Take a look at great projects, which we are doing primarily because we can get more influence from them. Though we want to be careful that the great projects we select do not, in fact, help our liege in terms of the dynastic cycle. Don't want our son to be a cheater. We'll give him an exam cheat. It's a lot of gold, but we'll give him an exam cheat. Again, really want our sons to be as successful as they can be. Though if they don't succeed in the exam, then we're going to be using our influence to bypass it. And I believe, bypassing exams, or at least allowing people to bypass more than one exam, also pushes the dynastic cycle toward tension, so that helps our goal there as well. See a lot of our rivals dying. I assume these are people that we humiliated in debates, and that's the reason they became our rivals. So now let's see where our sons are. This one obviously passed the provincial exam. This is our second son. This is our third son and heir who apparently did not take the exam. Considering now whether we should just give him a pass on the exam. Other thing I want to do, if it doesn't interfere with any other schemes, is mentor my sons in governance. That just improves their governor trait, gives them stats and influence. So well worth doing. I would overwrite a scheme, so we'll wait a bit on that one. Now, when we consult heaven, it adds tension. Before, and we remember the pro-song movement, consulting heaven took away from tension. Once again, we want to add to the tension. It's extremely expensive for a rather small increase in tension, but should all build up. Hopefully it'll be worth it. Lost our wet nurse, so we will recruit another one. Just curious here about this. I guess it's worth doing. Waiting for activities and also waiting for our own debate to become available so we can debate and hopefully become the head of the conservative movement. Conservative movement is the second most powerful movement, so we want to do what we can to build it up to be the most powerful. Overtake the pro-song movement that we were previously a member of. Got another dynasty legacy. Almost certainly just continue on the virtues path, which specializes in benefits for the celestial government. Our expectation would be that either we're going to be the vassal of the celestial government or heading it for the entire playthrough, so the more benefits we get there, the better. Moment, conservative movement's favored to win this debate, but we'll see. Increase the conservative movement's power. Go through each of our sons and mentor them in governance. Again, really want our children to be as powerful as possible. For our heir, when we take over as them, the stronger they are, the easier our playthrough will be, easier achieving our goals will be. Looks like we can go to the maximum level of the tea plantation, so let's do that. The other thing that I've been neglecting that we should take a look at here is to house aspiration. Whenever we are nearing division, when we expect to go to war, then we'll really want to go with honor. For obvious reasons, the highest level of honor, you get +5 advantage, extremely powerful, and you get ties of 2 regiments. To increase the number of regiments you have by 2, which again just extreme increase to your power level. Saying the reduction in men-at-arms maintenance is useful, and here if the house is powerful, you get to increase the size of each regiment by 2. So by going through honor, you just have far more troops, far more men-at-arms, more powerful military. But again, we're not really that close to division, so we probably want to think about something else here. I usually go with these middle 2 for the increase in merit. This one sort of really depends on being a poet, getting the poet trait experience, righteousness, better chances of succeeding in examinations. Almost thinking of this one. Gives personal movement power, gets more piety, political streams more powerful, and get a lot of domicile income. Perhaps most significantly, your children gain quite a bit of merit on succession. So I think let's change to ritual. We should easily have enough influence to go all the way up. And again, we've been focusing in on influence. We're going to keep focusing on influence. We're already at the max level of devotion, so here we'll get more influence at the expense of our daughter, but I guess we'll repair this. Coin flip here with some of our grandsons. Make sure all our children are married. Looking for women with some sort of intelligence trait. Not many options. Going with the physical trait. This woman is herself intelligent, really would like to get her married to someone who is intelligent, but it just isn't there. So we can steal gold again. My guess is that the stealing gold also helps move us toward tension. Let's take a look here. Yeah. So yeah, that just happens. So again, we want to steal as much gold for a very obvious reason that the more gold we have, the better. But we also want to take gold because it pushes the dynastic cycle toward tension. Might as well give this guy more learning. 15 stress isn't really that much. Go to this debate. Wherever it is and I am. Not sure why I'm leaving from there, but okay. Yeah, there seems to be some weird stuff about where your character ends up being located in that our liege recently conquered this land, so it become part of the Song holdings. I guess it still is at the moment, and so we end up being transferred, teleported, whatever, to these lands instead of being at the capital over here. I'm assuming that's some kind of bug, but perhaps it's intended. We can challenge status here. We have the 95% chance. Happen. You see we add 5 progress toward tension. We'll start another scheme. Challenge status. Also be successful. Obviously, it'll be taking a while to really push the dynastic cycle toward tension, but we'll use the tools that we have, even though it'll take a while. Check to see when our son and heir has children. Say our political scheme here. Challenge this guy, advance very quickly. Perhaps that was because of some of the benefits of ritual, or for some other reason. I don't want to challenge other members of the conservative movement. You can see the movement in this tiny little icon here. This guy, happy to challenge his status. Let's take a look at create projects. Plenty are available. We do not want any push away tension. Still looking for more influence. The budget, we don't take it with us, so happy to spend all the money that's available in the budget. One thing that does help playing on hardest difficulty settings is that we have Doomsday plagues, so that often means that there is at least a major and often an apocalyptic plague somewhere in the realm, in the Song hegemony, and that also pushes the dynastic cycle toward tension and eventually division. Piety again to swing, though we're not really being able to swing effectively. At this point, I think it's fair to say we are not going to get anywhere near the level 6 power sharing that we need. Sure, we'll negotiate our alliance with our son, Sullivan County. Let's give him some merit. Again, we can bestow merit. It's because we're the Grand Chancellor, it's half cost, so even better deal. But for 400 influence, he'll get 2250 merit. You can see we just have tons of influence, so happy to spend it here on progressing the careers of our children. You can go all the way up to first rank. Let's get him to third rank, where he should be in better shape than most other candidates. I should have a stronger candidate score than other people. Give our first son some merit as well. Our third son an heir. Less interested in giving him merit. We could do is grant him an exemption. And you see here this, fourth trigger says it can only be used once without consequence in our lifetime. Even if we use it multiple times, I believe the only consequence is we lose a bit of merit, which doesn't really matter because we're making tons of merit and we're already at the first rank of merit anyway. And I think it may also push the dynastic cycle toward tension, which we don't care. In fact, that's what we want to have happen. So we will go ahead and use this exemption on our player heir. You also see he gets 5,500 merit, which is just massive. All that for only 300 influence. And now that he can go all the way up to the first rank, we'll bestow some more merit on him. Get him up to, again, I like doing rank 3. Most people in the realm are going to be stuck at rank 4 because to get past rank 4, you have to pass a palace examination. So getting your children and others to rank 3 really gives them an advantage. And then our other son here, probably wait till at least he passes a provincial exam, but we'll likely want to give him some merit as well. I guess we already challenged. He was the one we originally challenged. So he will challenge this guy instead. Again, challenging primarily to push the dynastic cycle, though it also gives us influence. So multiple good things. Can't hold debate. Would like to debate to get the leadership of the conservative movement. Wonder if you can imprison anyone. This does cause some stress on us. Let's wait a little bit. Successfully challenge this guy's status. Hopefully. So he adds 5 progress toward tension. Every little bit helps. And in our first campaign is the Duke of Bohemia in 1066. Saw that often around the same time period we were incrementally increasing our power by taking nearby counties and duchies. Here similarly we are effectively incrementally increasing our power by getting toward tension and then division, where we should be able to take over, but we'll need to proceed methodically here. Get an alliance with our son and heir who holds a county now. In our youngest son, he still hasn't taken, or at least hasn't passed provincial examinations yet. Let's see what options we have here. This is your monthly merit, domicile income, more holding taxes, so let's go with that. I talked before about the beginning of the game, we were looking in terms of our state buildings. We were literally looking for gold, then merit, then influence, and to a large extent that's still true. Given my age, which is 70, I just don't know that it's worth going to grand tournaments. I'm skeptical I'd be allowed to participate. Really want to, for our debate, really want to wait till our movement leader is not traveling and I can debate him for control of the movement. Till then, just hold off on having the debate. We will keep challenging other people, taking their influence, knocking them down a peg. Again, want to find people who are not members of our movement to do this. Also want to keep instructing our sons, mentoring them in governance, so they are more powerful whenever I take them over, or just more powerful generally, and are better able to increase the overall power of our family and dynasty. I mean that sort of in a general way, but also specifically the powerful family ranking. The more there we are in third, so that's quite good. The more appointed members we have, the stronger we're going to be. Another successful challenge status scheme. Seems like these challenge status schemes are getting faster each time I do them. They are. Some of them are going quite quickly now. Looks like our youngest son still hasn't taken the provincial examinations. Slowly moving toward tension. Hoping once we hit tension, the path toward division will go faster. There are often a lot of peasant rebellions during tension, which increase the movement toward division. Okay, we will try to become the head of our movement. Apparently we're over here. We'll of course push toward tension. Successful challenge status scheme. We've been focusing on intendants, the king level, title holders. I have to go underneath that now and focus on the duchy title holders to challenge their status. Just sort of a madman running around challenging everyone's status. I don't know what happened to my debate. Looks like it got canceled somehow. I don't think that would be working as intended. It's a bit unfortunate. So this is a building where you can see that it could get an extra men-at-arms regiment, which is quite powerful. Our other option is this. I mean, the issue is I'm probably not going to be using light cavalry. I guess it does have some other benefits. Oh, I can't construct it anyway, so I'll just construct this one instead. Unfortunate that the debate got canceled. Again, don't know why I'm over there. We'll support entrance again. Hopefully we get our sons and family members generally passing grade, so they can continue to earn more merit. Well, looks like I forgot to make that one a matrilineal marriage. Hopefully their children will still have good genetic traits. We can marry them later. Back into our dynasty. That's the last son we need to mentor in governance. Execute this challenge status scheme. Looking at the history of the dynastic cycle, you can see we're slowly but surely pushing toward tension. Could try murdering members of the imperial house, such as this guy's children. Looks like our success chances are going to be pretty low, so maybe not worth doing. See if our intelligent son here can find intelligent young woman to marry. Guess we will be doing the traditional CK3 strategy of inbreeding. And don't want our son to cheat, but we can give exam schemes or exam advantages that don't make him a cheat, then I'm happy to do that. So we'll just take this second one here, which gives our son an exam advantage. We did lose our caravan master / forward scout, so place that. It should be another successful challenge status scheme. Don't want to join the advancement movement. That would reduce tension, which is what we want to actually increase. Benefits from great projects we started, contributed to. Also worth noting that because of the Han culture, which reduces elder traits, and also the fact that we have whole of body, various other benefits, that we are 72 and yet do not have an elder trait such as clouded eyes or faltering heart or any of that stuff yet. So again, my guess is that this character will be playing him into his 80s, which is fine because he is a very good character. Plague of some sort heading our way. lifestyle experience. Don't think I have. Oh, we want to steal gold first. Someone with a high percentage chance. There we are. Swing the scales of power for all the good it does. I am curious now about seeing if we can imprison someone. Don't have great chances on any of these. Let's give this a try and see what happens. Wonder if that contributed to tension. I think, well, that was probably the stealing the gold. Okay. Really starting to fill out our state here. Okay, so we'll make a mental note that I want to save a spot for this meeting room. Hopefully we'll become a movement leader if our events do not bug out. I think this is worth perhaps going for just for the travel speed. Know that it much matters what she has. Guess we'll go with learning. Oh, we want to check in our son to see how he has done. So he passed the metropolitan examination, but not the capital examination. So we actually lose more merit than I thought. We will build it back pretty quickly. Yeah, maybe we hold off. Can bestow him a bit of merit. Let's get him a position, maybe help him do better at the next capital examination so that he can pass the palace examination. Sure why my scheme over here is stalled out. Could be because I am in the wrong place, as we talked about earlier. Not quite sure how to get back to the right place. Maybe a pilgrimage will help. try to go for the monthly lifestyle experience, which we got. Steal more gold from fellow vassals. See if we can press gold. Not from anyone who will pay us a decent amount. Cash in some hooks. Not yet the hook on our liege. We'll spend money on great projects that do not push back tension. Again, for pilgrimages, generally I try to get the most piety possible. Okay, as punishment for mentioning earlier that I did not yet have any elder traits, now I do have clouded eyes. And again, 73. Lasted quite a while and near perfect health. We do have the good air set up, so I'm comfortable with that. This character passes on to still be in a powerful position. Obviously have to work our way back up to minister position or intendant, whatever we want to be, but it should be quicker this time around since obviously my heir will start with a huge chunk of merit. Well, I'm going to limit what I can do against him. Okay, I guess the leader of my movement died, and I became the movement leader. Guess whoever has died recently has significantly shrunken the power of our movement. I think we're up at 17,000 power before, so need to work on rebuilding that. I guess maybe that's what happened to my debate that got canceled. Was it's possible the person I was debating to be leader died, and so I became leader. I want to imprison someone partly because if it doesn't severely stress me out, I want to torture them to increase my ideally my intrigue. Also possible that I get prowess, but we have the perks here for dark insights and divine retribution, so I'm going to make use of those to improve our character. Probably still have decent amount of time with this character. I'd say at least 10 years. Stop here and deal with these tips. Stealing gold is good for us. Obviously our bankroll of gold just keeps increasing. Let's try to imprison someone, whoever we have the best chance against. If we have a decent chance against anyone, it's not looking like it. Guess we'll try this. If there's anyone we can throw in jail, we'll do that so we can torture them for dark insights. Thought there was something where we could invite other people to our movement. I'm not seeing it. Try slandering this one. At this point, I think we're just going to abandon this scheme. It seems to be bugged. See if there are other people whose status we can challenge who are not members of the conservative movement. Probably go with examination wherever it is. Somehow we bounced up here now. Okay. Again, I think our liege may have newly conquered these lands up here, and for some reason that causes you to move to them, and you're still stuck there even after your liege has given the land away. Take our gold from our children here for these hooks. We're back to being able to properly execute our challenge status schemes. Keep doing. Looks like the challenge task schemes are proceeding much faster than the one slander scheme I'm trying, so probably stick with those. Obviously a quite good grandson. Granddaughter, and their children will have all three traits, at least in their genes, at least the potential for those traits. More children, or I should say grandchildren. Not sure where my dynastic cycle icon that's usually down here went. So I'm going to be missing a couple of different icons. Maybe they'll come back soon. Again, want more influence. Really always can use more influence, even though you do quite a bit. Try for the intrigue experience. Do the trait that increases our intrigue experience. Get more learning experience. Feudally swing the scales of power. Steal gold from the person you have a 99% chance of success against. I have been slandered. I would like to check if me being slandered results in an effect on the dynastic cycle. Does look like our liege is not doing terribly well. We're replaced by a rather young son who has some negative traits. Paranoid and arrogance, not very good. So maybe that will open up more opportunities. We still have the full complement of wives and concubines, though I'm guessing none of them have children anymore. Build up our intrigue learning here. I mean, we are starting to get somewhat close to prison feudal complex, and we might take a second look at trying to imprison people, particularly our liege. Gold. See if we can imprison any of our rivals. Let's give this 28% chance here of shot. Only have one prisoner, and it'll be quite a while before we can torture him again. Looks like we generally have a better chance of a positive result. Chance of success there was just way too low. Don't really need military traits. Okay. So we got our dynastic cycle counter back, which is good. Okay, I would have expected more of my challenges to the status of other governors to be showing up. But not sure if it's not showing up because of a bug or I've been longer since I've been successful in one. Fortunately, it looks like these two are in fact bugs, so we will abandon them. Move on to try to challenge someone else's status. We are, even though it's somewhat slow, we are driving toward tension. When we really started this, it was at around 2,900, so we've driven it by 400. We will just keep driving toward tension and ultimately division. I think we need a mysterious puzzle, but we do need to make sure that we are improving our estate at every opportunity. This is our heir, marrying his betrothed. They should have genius children, ideally lots of them. Guess we can get a weapon. These are all payoffs for the great projects we sponsored or funded. Let's see if there are more. Always being careful that we're not picking any that decrease tension. I failed a 99% chance. It happens sometimes. That's why I don't necessarily like eating plants in that one travel event where you have like a 2% chance of dying if you eat the plants. Okay. I know if Locus of Opposition had some sort of way to increase movement toward tension. I mean, but it really looks like all. I mean, hostile scheme phase length is okay, but the rest of it looks mostly like uh, benefits for a military use. So we'll just say I don't have many opinions. I am still the regent. Can't swing scales. So he has much lower legitimacy than his father, though when he becomes crowned, presumably that will increase. Cannot change my own contract. I am skeptical, very, very skeptical that we would be able to murder him. If we did, that could very quickly cause a breakdown in the hegemony of song. Don't know that I want that to happen that quickly. Generally, when the China goes into a division, you want to be holding some sort of landed territory, ideally a kingdom level title, but a duchy can work okay. And then you use those to attack people near you. If you're just a minister, I've run into some weird issues where even if you have a giant army, if you try to attack someone, you instantly go to negative 100% war score and lose. It's not clear why that happens. I mean, it's certainly almost certain that that is a bug because it doesn't make any sense. Obviously, landless adventures don't have any land, and yet they still are able to wage war. So it seems like a person who was a minister should be able to wage war, even if they don't have any land. But it doesn't seem like that's the way it works, unfortunately. Or at least that one time. Maybe I would have better luck trying it again, but I don't really want to risk it. And so that sort of gets to the question of I don't think I want to explode China right now, even if it were possible for me to do so. But what we could try doing is imprisoning our young new liege as soon as we get the perk that increases imprisonment chance. Prison feudal industrial complex, something like that. Prison feudal complex. People slander me. That on the one hand that hurts me, on the other that is driving toward tension and then eventually division. So that does help in the broader sense. And slandering me doesn't really do anything. Slandering hurts your candidate score, but I'm no longer a candidate for anything since I'm at the very top of the Chinese bureaucracy. Unsurprisingly, since I'm getting into my late 70s, I'm starting to get some elder traits and events that give me stress simply because I'm old. I did support entrance. Okay, that's what I want to do. See, our 3 eldest sons are all landed. This one has a duchy title. This one also has a duchy title. Then our heir is still on his first title, which is a county. Our youngest son doesn't have anything yet, but hopefully we can help him to pass the palace examination here, and then he will get a posting. We have the Know Thyself perk, so I should know a year in advance when I'm going to die. And when that happens, you can't take your influence with you. So I will just blow all the influence I have on getting my children up to the highest rank possible. then you'll move on to my heir. Currently 24, probably be in his 30s when we take him over. 4, don't want him to cheat, but I will take positions that give him an exam advantage without him cheating, such as these. Lost our personal position in tutor, our daughter in there. Looks like our seneschal / chief administrator is getting old, so we will replace him. Everything else looks generally okay. Equip this mediocre new sword. Obviously better than nothing. Okay, there's a genius man, so marry him. Check whether our heir has had any children yet. He has not. Lost our caravan master / forward scout. I mean, I guess we can put our daughter there. There is some risk of events that cause your caravan master to die when you're traveling. But we haven't seen any of those. It seems like the danger in China has generally been pretty low. Notably, we have not had a Black Death yet. We are on unlimited random Black Deaths, so they could hit at any point. They do usually start in the east, so at any time we can see them. And obviously they would greatly increase the danger across the land, but we haven't seen them yet. I'm not a movement leader. Okay, that is news to me. I thought I was the movement leader. Right? Well, we'll try a debate to become the movement leader again. In the meantime, let's see here. Oh, so I do believe this is limited, yes, to ministerial appointments. So, it is to say you can only build it if you're a minister. So we do want to get that built now. Help our other children to become ministers once I pass on, or even before for that matter. Let's see, this son still cannot pass the Palace exam. I think we just bite the bullet here. We'll get back the merit that we need. We'll bestow more merit on him to get up to rank 3. See, we're still at first place, and keep getting some more merit. We really need it. You see here, rather curiously, it looks like okay, now both the schemes are moving. For a while, it looked like the left one was moving, but the right one was not. Got a good grandson here. Let's see if we can marry him to a young girl who is intelligent. sure if we missed the coronation. Yes, we did. No worries. Guess I will gain some lifestyle experience. Could give this guy a lot of learning, but he's not related to me, so there's no real reason to do that in terms of increasing my power. Go to this local examination and come back and try to host a debate. Would be nice if there was some way to relocate myself at the actual capital, but I'm not aware of one. I talked before about how there are these oddities where you get bounced around. It seems to happen when your liege conquers territory, that you get moved to wherever the new territory is and just sort of get stuck there. Probably childbirth, yep. And keep building up these offices. See, they merit, give actually a decent amount of renown, and perhaps most importantly, you get benefits for being a minister, which are all quite powerful. So the idea here is that when I take over as my heir, I'm not going to be starting zero. Basically, my heir will be born on third base. See, he's almost to second rank now. Indeed, let's go ahead and advance him again. Let's go ahead and advance him again, which would make him either first or very close. He's close. Can we get a debate to be the movement leader? We cannot. So we'll just wait on that. Yes, we can drink tea. We could author a book. I mean, I don't think it'll be terribly relevant for us, but it could help some of our heirs. Both of those are strong. I've traveled a lot of places and have very good learning. Always want renown. So we can marry this grandson off to someone. I think we do have a couple of granddaughters, at least one granddaughter who's a genius, and this other young girl is a genius, so we'll marry her, or be betrothed to her. We'll finish out our Grand Minister's office here. Really build up our estate, so when our heir takes over, should be much more powerful. Might as well give it a try. Oh, lost my bodyguard because I murdered him. Somewhat accidentally, but I'm guessing he won't see it that way. Or his family if they knew. Steal more gold. See if we can imprison anyone. Looks like no. There's no real point in trying on a 0% chance of success. Check where we are. Yeah, again, just slowly moving toward tension and then hopefully division. Challenge the status of some more people. See if they're support entrance. We can. Not sure who will show up at this point. It could be some grandchildren. See about great project. Again, one that does not push back tension. Continue to roll on. Still in fine health, despite being almost 80. See what else we want here. The taxation office is good. Slandered again. That's again a bit double-edged because it does move us more toward tension and thus closer to division. And doesn't really matter to me because I was at the highest possible office in all of China, so I'm not really a candidate for anything else. Just going to be sitting in this office until I die. We are one perk point away from prison feudal complex. At that point, probably take another serious look at trying to imprison our liege. Still can't debate the movement leader. Don't think going the Grand Tournament is useful as an almost 80-year-old. We can host a feast, which primarily would advance our eager reveler trait, which could increase our intrigue. So let's do that. increased our health. And it's a pretty decent journal, really. Yep. Not, as useful for this character, but could actually be better than the purple journal for my heir, people who need the sorts of experience that it covers. I did want to talk briefly about one option that when I first looked at it, I was like, oh, that looks great. But then when I actually used it, I was like, oh, this is terrible, which is in search of pure land. So this means that this character retires, I'll step down, lose all titles, I then move on to my player heir. Sounds good for when your character is too old and want to step down. Problem is, the one time I used it, I lost all my gold. Instead of passing it on to my heir, I don't know where it went, but certainly my heir never got it, and the entire point of building up all this gold is to pass it on to our heir, so I will not be going in search of pure land. Instead, I would just have to live out the entire life of this character, and only at that point will I move on to my heir. Certainly the celestial estates have plenty of building slots. Think about what we want here. Actually, wine room is good since it means you can get influence from feast. Guess we'll take the high percentage chance of getting a martial point here. Never get back. Again, we'll check on whether we can debate for the head of the movement. And this time we can, hopefully. Obviously, when I max out our chances of winning the debate. So if we can get the movement head, we can take some more actions to push toward tension and division. And there's also another building we can construct that requires us to be the movement head. Also execute these challenge status schemes, which we failed despite our high chance. Failed one of them, we did succeed on the other one. That's okay. We will keep going. Challenging the status of anyone who is not in the conservative movement. Also send a poem to someone, really just for increase our poet experience. Check our heir if he's had any children. Technically he has not, but his wife is pregnant, so we will want to educate that child whenever he is born. And of Of course, if it's not a he, but instead a girl, then you won't worry about it. Get more influence. Try to increase our movement power. Obviously, unfortunate to become infirm, but inevitable at some point. And we still have fine health. We'll see if despite our infirmity, we can become the head of the movement. Take the 99% chance of success. We did, in fact, become the head of the movement. Now I'm trying to remember the building that I wanted to build. Oh, this is it. Okay, except maybe when not sure. Okay, fine. It takes a while for the debate to finish and for me to officially become the movement leader. Now that it's happened, I'll go back and build that building. Also execute these 2 challenge status schemes. Yep, the NASA Pavilion provides a number of nice benefits, particularly that max political schemes increased by 1, so we want to get it. Go to capital examination and support entrance. Support our family members. I think of all of our direct sons already have passed the exams, or we granted them exemptions, but for our other sons, our grandchildren, I should say, they could benefit from us helping them. I usually send all my children, grandchildren, children's exams. Doesn't give them much stress, and it does give us a little bit of renown. They get some benefit. Obviously, they managed to fail every single one, but that's life. This guy has max level physical trait. Our granddaughter here is a genius, so hopefully they'll produce some genius and Herculean children, which will significantly advance our genetics program. Guess might as well just get this 16 gold. Look at great project here. Again, looking primarily for influence. Check here to make sure it doesn't push back tension. Grab this lifestyle experience. Again, no reason to save money. The treasury is not coming with us. So whenever we die or when you move to a different place, so it's just as well to spend it all to your own advantage. build out our dynastic Italy in here. Sure. Challenge. Status schemes are both ready. Now we can think about a more significant scheme. Which would be trying to imprison our liege. Interesting, he already has some, well, 2 negative stress traits. Probably not surprising given that he's paranoid, which I really dislike as a trait, for the obvious reason that the stress grain is so great. There's going to be some irony here in that those closest to him actually are plotting against him, namely me. Oh, okay. Well played to him then. So I can't abduct him because he has a strong hook on me. Don't know that I have a way to get rid of the hook. I'm not arbitrary. Specifically, I'm the opposite of arbitrary. I'm just. I believe arbitrary allows you to just tell someone, I don't want to comply with this hook anymore, and you can just get rid of it, but not here. So, yep, well played to him. We'll just continue on with the life of this character, and then we will move on to our sons, particularly our quite excellent heir here. We see his max governor trait. He's already well into his fuchsia education. It's a golden sovereign. Certainly want to educate that grandson. Speaking of grandsons, we'll make sure this one does not cheat. Don't want him to dishonor our house. Not sure how much longer I'll live, but in any case, I will educate our genius grandson for as long as I am alive. And we'll give our grandson an exam advantage. See, our eldest son is an intendant, so in other words, king level title, he's first rank. I have consumption, which is unfortunate. Did get a positive result, but possible is at least my death, as I've mentioned before. Consumption is arguably the worst of the plagues because it lasts so long. Other plague diseases you get, they may last 6 to 12 months at most, often less, and you either die or it goes away. Smallpox, bubonic plague even, measles, holy fire, all those fall into that category. Consumption, on the other hand, you get it, and often you have it for 3 to 5 years. So it really is sort of a disease of wasting away. But again, we have know thyself. So we're set up to be prepared whenever this character is about to die, about to go on to our heir. Our heir is very good. Unfortunately, this character that we're playing has his liege, the Wang Di, has a strong hook on him. So there's not much I can do against my liege at this point. Unfortunately, my son and heir now has consumption. That is absolutely not good, but not really anything I can do about it. Now I'm traveling to where my liege recently conquered, I guess. Not sure why I'm up here, but I am. And now, of course, I can't do anything because I have consumption. So we will just wait. I guess we'll sit here and challenge status as we wait out our illness. See, the dynastic cycle is getting there. We're at 3,500. I do think we'll go faster when we get into tension. Since in tension there tend to be a lot of peasant rebellions, other things that happen that move the dynastic cycle more quickly towards division. And I think we have enough gold. We should be well placed to take advantage of division. If we were to have more children, particularly another son, I guess at this point it probably doesn't really matter that we aren't going to be alive long enough for them to come of age. If we did, I think we'd probably strongly consider a martial character. I think there's a relatively high chance that during the lives of one of my sons that the division will occur. Okay, if no one else, I will try to imprison a fellow minister. Might as well give it a try. 50%. Interesting. So it does get us toward tension, which is good. Also, see about torturing him so that I might get some dark insights. I think this guy I can't yet torture again, or maybe I can. Okay, we'll torture him as well. Leave people in prison. Go back to building the wine cellar now that the dynastic pavilion is fully built. And again, you really can't do anything when you have consumption. It's a bit unfortunate. Obviously, I would like to make some of those big decisions that pushes the dynastic cycle, but I cannot. Discussion of having a martial child reminds me take a look to see who my spouses are. I do have an open concubine position, so let's see if there are any genius women around who might be interested in filling it. Guess there is one. Obviously she's not the youngest, but had her anyway. Some of our courtiers dying, presumably because of the consumption. This. We'll say now that I can't go anywhere and I'm just stuck in my place, wherever it is up here, that does make the challenge status schemes go much faster since they're no longer being paused when I travel. Do want to make sure that I do not accidentally challenge my son. My son, who is ruling one of the better circuits / kingdoms in my viewpoint. I mean, this one you get quite a few vassals here. That makes Grand Tours quite easy. So he's doing well for himself. I don't plan on playing as him, but this one on the other hand, still with me for some reason. We'll give him even more merit. Hopefully he'll be able to find someplace. I'm not quite sure why he's locked at 2nd rank, but anyway. Just keep challenging people's status, moving the dynastic cycle bit by bit. Obviously, we'll push toward tension. So we're getting there, little by little. Playing very hard. One of the characteristics is that vassals are much more loyal to AI lieges, of course much less loyal to the player, and so presumably that means that the AI is less willing to engage in schemes like challenge status that could affect the standing of their overall liege eventually. I assume generally that most characters in China are looking to not press toward tension and division. So we're really sort of going on it alone here in terms of doing everything we can now to drive toward division. But first, of course, we have to go through tension. So that is interesting. Looks like the Wang Di died of consumption, I assume, really. Says he succumbed to a fatal apoplexy. I assume really that was consumption there. Didn't live very long after getting it, but it is a somewhat significant health penalty. Now we have this child. I don't think I'll express any opinions. His legitimacy is only 3. Could try to imprison him. Says it will be very easy. Maybe it will. Though not looking like it. Let's see what we can do here in terms of hiring some good agents. Okay. I mean, still at max 55%, so not great chances, but we'll see what can happen here. Also, we should really make sure to swing the scales. Has more impact now because our liege is a child and he will not be able to swing back until he becomes an adult. Meantime, let's see what we want to do with these tips. So at this point, we actually would want to live longer. I'm not sure we're going to, but with whatever life we do have, we are going to see if we can maximize our regency power and then see if we can usurp the power of our liege. So, okay, our child just died. Other child takes over. So there's a bit of a concern here. He's down at 2 of 7 for legitimacy. You see that in terms of catalyst. If he hits 0, that's plus 4,000. And I think that basically means that the empire immediately explodes. We talked before about I don't want to be a minister when that happens. Maybe I would die and we'd go on to one of my children pretty quickly. So I do want to be a little bit careful here of what I'm doing. Let's go ahead and get this. I think well, he's actually older than the last one. We will try to abduct him. Again, looks like it's going to be challenging. At this point, I really need to lose consumption so that I stay alive. But of course, no guarantees on that. I really focus on seeing if we can abduct our liege here. around the realm as consumption, which it is a very serious consumption plague. A major one that occupied much of central China, including the capital. Really should remember to swing the scales of power as absolutely soon as possible. See if we marry. Yep, there we go. Want to marry our granddaughter, someone who's either beautiful or Herculean. The max level beauty or physical trait. Obviously that young gentleman fit the bill. Okay, so not terribly surprising. Obviously we knew we were old, knew we had consumption, and so our schemes against our young liege are going to come to an end here very soon. So in the meantime, what we want to do is, there is no point to us to having all this influence now. We might as well give it to our children by using that influence to get them up to rank 1, so we have a very powerful family. Of course, most obviously with our heir, he has consumption. Hopefully he'll be okay. Not much else we can do. This son, we'll get him up to the first rank. I think more generally, let's look at our dynasty, look at adult males. We may have some grandchildren that we want to benefit. Indeed we do here. Again, because we are the movement leader and Grand Chancellor, it's just so inexpensive to do this. So we might as well do it. Have the most powerful family we can. Have all these family members at upper, the very first rank. That way they can become ministers, govern kingdom level titles. Looks like we've done what all we can do there. Don't think we can do anything with our daughters, right? It's not even available. Okay. So what else do we want to do? We want to look at all of our dynasty family members who are eligible to be married but are not yet married. Really, we need them to be in our court so we have control over them. There are quite a few here. This guy, I really want to have him married to K. Herculean. It's good. She is already barren for some reason. See if we get her someone outside of our family. He looks good, though he's quite young. someone else who is intelligent, such as that young woman. See if we can find someone else that reinforces beauty trait. Someone with a physical trait. Someone with intelligence, ideally. Just not seeing it. Maybe we'll do. Let those marriages happen and see where we are. So we lose consumption, but at this point it's too late. The game has already decided that he's going to die, so it doesn't really matter, unfortunately, that he is now back to fine health even. So if he would have been able to overcome consumption just a little bit earlier, we'd keep playing him, but won't be happening now. I don't know that we want to build much more. Guess we'll do our last bit to go toward tension here. I know this can be a little bit tedious, but it is something when you play your own games you really want to consider doing, is going through and getting good marriages, betrothals for all your family members. Really does help speed up the process of getting strong blood and getting important characteristics, particularly genius, in your family. There's just a massive, massive difference between a character who is a genius and one who is not. Again, we're playing on the hardest possible rule settings, so we're really looking to take every advantage that we can within that rule set. Him, I really wish there were a better candidate. Someone who's Herculean or beautiful. Maybe wait the next character. See if you can find a good betrothal for him. So we do have some house members gaining appointments. Let's check succession. We know what it should be, but it's always important to look. Less so for Celestial, but other forms, you never know when you've had a new son you've forgotten about, or something else has happened. You got some new territory that will affect how your lands are divided. All sorts of things that could happen. So our player and son lost consumption. That is very, very good. Again, if you have consumption, you can't really do anything besides wage war and apparently challenge the acceptance of, or challenge the status of your co-vassals with China. So now that he has lost consumption, that means as soon as we take him over, we'll be able to move on with him. No point at the moment in replacing our court positions, since we'll likely have to do that when our son takes over. Unsurprisingly, we've been playing for quite a while. I'm going to play until this character dies, and at that point we will call this episode, and the next episode we'll move on to playing this character. Like Ziliang. So I undoubtedly am butchering that, but I hope you'll forgive me. Steal gold one last time. Any payments we want to demand. Might as well demand them all, actually. All this money should go on to our son, who we've done everything we can to set him up for success. He is upper, first rank because of us. And we'll have a ton of gold, so interesting. Normally it's not phrased quite like that, but here probably an accurate statement. Okay, and so this is finally the end of our first character. We will be moving on, and also at the end of this episode we'll start reorganizing our court, taking over as our new character. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I hope to see you again in the next episode. Thanks again. Bye.